How we doing? And let's begin. How did you find music? Where? Tell me.
How did I? Well,
yeah,
I have ears.
Okay,
and,
which is a huge. Some don't. Some don't.
Some don't. I guess that's true.
You gotta think of it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like as a kid, I mean, I loved music, and then, when you just like find out that you're good at something, you're like, hey, like I'm pretty good at this. Like I should maybe do more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it started. We had a piano when I was a little kid, and like I would just like listen to stuff, and I didn't know any piano, but I would like play certain things on the piano, like just from hearing it, and I just thought that was like a normal thing that like people did. And so someone was over at our house, and then a song was on, and I was like, oh, like that's a cool song, and I kind of like noodled and figured it out, and I started playing the song, and they were just like all looking at me like I was some weird person, and I was like, well, did I do something wrong? And they're like, how you play piano? I was like, not really. I don't know. I just like, figured it out. And they're like, whoa. And so I felt pretty cool as like a young Jason.
Young gun.
And then young gun in the biz.
Yeah. Wow.
5 years old, rocking the piano.
Oh my god.
And then I think once you like fall in love with music, I'm sure you can relate. It's just really hard to like not be in love with music.
Yeah, of course. So with that said, who inspires you?
Oh man, so many people, honestly. I think for our music, I am a big like Phil Collins, Genesis kind of guy. Yeah, exactly. The Police, I love the Police.
Amazing.
I mean, newer artists, like I love Disclosure, big Disclosure guy.
Their live streams are.
Oh, they're so talented. Like
they're psycho.
They're very, very talented.
They're scary. Yeah.
But there's so many, man. I love Empire of the Sun. I'm a big Empire of the Sun guy. Like I just like good vibe.
I hear everything, every inspiration that you're describing. I mean, it very much translates in your music, man. That's
definitely,
damn sure.
Definitely.
What was the first piece of music you made money on? In any way, shape, or form. It could be money, or you got like a favor, some kind of compensation.
Like recorded music, or
sure. Let's say that.
Yeah. Probably. I didn't make much, but when I was in high school, I grew up in Sonoma, which is like in Northern California. And yeah, with Ian,
nice.
the OG.
Nice.
Reggae was like super big back in the day, and I still love reggae. Like I fuck with reggae hella hard. But we were in a like reggae band, but all of our friends were like legit reggae DJs, not like we're just like playing a CD like like that kind of reggae DJ.
Rude boy.
Yeah, so like we like when you went to like a high school party back in the day in Sonoma, it was like like roots, like hardcore roots reggae, like reggae, not like white people reggae, reggae.
Pass the Dutch around.
And so we just like randomly started playing with all these like legit reggae artists. So like when I was in like high school, we like played shows with like Ross Attitude, and I like did a record for like Loot and Fire, and like all this people that were like pretty big in the reggae scene, but like when you're in high school, you're just like playing some music with some people. So I think the first thing I played on this like random like Loot and Fire record. I don't even remember what it's called now, but I think I made like $50 for like playing guitar on it or something like that. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
And with that, that counts. That exactly counts. And with that said, since you've been a musician, since you've been an artist, have you had any musical mentors that have kind of helped you navigate the space, whether like a pen pal or like literally somebody that's in your band or somebody that kind of advocated for you? Did you ever have anybody like that?
I don't know. I mean, at first before I moved down to LA,
Are you in LA? Lovey, you're in LA right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're based in LA.
Cool.
My friend Lovey back in the day, he's a really talented producer. He was the one that like convinced me to move to LA because I lived in the Bay, and I was just like more of a live musician at that point. So I was just like playing shows, playing guitar, like doing little tours. And then he's like, man, like you're such a great guitar player. You're a great songwriter. Like you should like just come to LA and like start making records. And I'm like,
come do sessions and.
Yeah. And so like I had no idea really what I was doing, but I was like, all right, I'll move down to LA. And when I first moved down here, I was just doing like all bigger sessions, and I didn't really know how that worked. And I honestly missed out on so many big opportunities because I just thought like that's just like how it is, like you're in the room, you're like writing a song for Frank Ocean, you're like, oh yeah, like this happens every week. It's like, no, it doesn't happen every week.
That's crazy.
So
did you actually end up getting like a credit on a Frank Ocean song?
So me and this guy, Chris, whose artist name is Gallant, who's I think he's pretty big. He's pretty big now.
Yeah. Gallant.
He
Moving my way,
you know it.
Oh yeah, dude, that's a jam, dude.
So me and
I
him
got
were both like
just remembering that song.
we were like writers at the time, and like I met him just through this session, and like we wrote this song for Frank Ocean like in my living room, like just drinking wine, and like did it on GarageBand, all ghetto.
Yeah.
And we love this song. I don't even know where it is now. I could probably find it, but basically, yeah, like it was one of those things where they liked it, but some songs just kind of sit there and then nothing happens, and so we just didn't know, and but it was like a cool experience. And then I had like all sorts of like funny things like that. Like we did this thing for like Rita Ora, and like
sick.
I've had so many like random like writing sessions that like it just led to like either like close calls or like all this stuff where it's like on hold, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get this huge cut, and then it like falls through, and you're just like your dreams are shattered.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that happens to all of us, like in the biz and in any business. But part of the reason why I wanted to start my own thing and start building up more organically is just because you're so dependent on like the structures that exist now. Like if you're living in this like kind of record label publishing kind of world, and we just got tired of it, man. I was like, I want to make music that I want to make.
Sure.
And I want to work with artists that are cool, and I just want to create, and I want to make and build things. And I honestly feel like with the NFT space, it's so similar.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that was gonna be my next question. So, do you think like where do you think? Well, in general, do you think NFTs are? Because NFTs are very contentious, right? There's a lot of bullshit from all levels of media, all levels of like the homies, all levels of like grandma at the Thanksgiving dinner table fudding you. So
major FUD from grandma.
Major, she's that's the original FUD, right? That's vintage FUD.
Vintage.
As we like to call it.
You gotta pay extra for that.
You gotta. So do you see Web3 as an opportunity for creatives for real?
Oh yeah. I think it's such a game changer, and like it's going to be a thing where like people now are still on the fence, and then in like a year they're going to be like, why the fuck was I on the fence?
Yeah. They're going to be like, oh.
In my opinion.
It is. I think it's going to become everything. I think it's going to become everything in certain ways. I think right now there's a lot of bullshit, for sure. There's a lot of crap.
Definitely.
But I think whatever survives this kind of, before the meteor strikes, the dinosaurs that survive, I think are going to become household names in whatever the fuck they touch. So, and I think the artists as well.
The problem now is like all these like on Solana especially, it's like there's so much cool shit happening on Solana. That's why like we're doing a project sidebar called Certified Citric.
Definitely plug it.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It's really cool. But why we chose Solana is just because like I feel like Solana there's just so much more action and so much more. There's a lot less gatekeeping in Solana, and it's way more about community and building and like. If someone has a cool idea, or they're like a cool dude, or like they're just working with a project that you like, or you have like you're a holder in the project, people are just like down to collab and work and grow and build.
Absolutely.
And I'm all about that. And also fucking gas. Like, I mean, come on, bro. Like Ethereum and gas. Like, it's so. I mean, I don't know. Don't get me started.
It's not scalable. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I definitely. Obviously, we in Net Gala too. We believe that at least I think maybe not. Maybe not for NFTs the way that they're being used right now in Solana, is like profile pictures on the shit. There's a lot of scams and things happening.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think in terms of gaming and in terms of music, collectibles for artists, there's no question that in terms of scalability, Solana is going to be the one. And I mean, I love it. I like the culture too. Yeah, it's great. And it's you really have the opportunity to be the first on Solana. Whereas, there's so much competition on ETH. Anyway, now you understand why we're here. So I guess to kind of close this out, because I know this is a little bit of a faster interview, but tell us a little bit about the tune and maybe the inception of how you made it. And again, we want to say from the team, we're so grateful that you're allowing us to release it on season 1. And again, for those of you watching, we want to make it clear with songs that artists provide for us for the Net Gala season 1. We don't own any of the masters. We don't own any of the publishing, nothing. We go and we're using this release as essentially a marketing grant, or however you guys want to use it, to push forth your artist career. Do whatever you want to do with it, and you know, you guys are part of a great experiment that we're trying to do here with Net Gala, which is, what if songs aren't put on DSPs at first, right?
Yeah.
And if, you know what, and if the answer is we'll look back on this shit in a year and go, that was kind of dumb. Okay, that's fine. But the idea behind Net Gala and why we even exist is to at least begin to scratch that, you know? Yeah. What happens if a song, which is usually this infinitely replicable thing, which is why us as musicians, our art has been devalued, because you're either paying a tech company for it to rent your music, and they pay you nothing, or that's it. And we're trying to create another option. So tell us about how this song came to be. So I think it was like the end of last year. It's actually very meta, because I was working on this EP for a label as like a solo project. And I did all this stuff. I wrote a bunch of tracks and I produced a bunch of stuff up. And like I had one track that was pretty much finished, which is Weird Vibes, and then I had another track that I really loved that was almost there. And so I was like, hey guys, like, just want to iron out the rest of the details. We have the 5-song EP, like all that stuff. They were like, okay, cool, like, And then they like updated their offer, and it was like a worse offer than we had initially agreed on. I was like, you guys said this and now you're saying this. And then they were trying to be like, oh, well, actually, like the advance, we can't really do like what we said. And I'm like, so you're backtracking on the advance and you're giving me worse split. And welcome. I'm like, welcome.
Cool. And I was just like, what the fuck, bro? And I think the biggest just the funniest shit with this is that I sent it to one of my friends, like a few songs. He's a pretty big music manager. I was like, hey man, this label, they're just fucking me around. I was like, I have these tracks, like I really think they're cool. Like, let me know if any people might be interested in signing something like this. And I sent him some stuff and he goes, yo bro, this is really dope. He's like, but to be honest with you, like everyone I know right now is just focused on signing 16-year-old or like 17-year-old TikTok people.
Yeah, of course.
It was completely serious.
Oh yeah,
and he's
for sure.
He's like, that's just like what they're looking for. And I'm like, oh my God. And it was hilarious, but I'm like, that sums up how far the music industry's gone away from like what it should be. It's like, it's not even about music anymore. It's ridiculous.
It's not.
So I was just like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
And so I produced up the rest of the track, had it on deck, and I was like, fuck it, we're going to release it as a Limón Limón track, get it out there, like, give it to our fans, like do this stuff. And then I got involved with you guys because of Ian, our mutual friend. Shout out to Ian. Great guy. And I just like really liked what you guys had going on, and I just think the culture is really cool. And so I sent the song out for one of the lives, and people fucked with it hard. So
they did.
Now it's on the OG release.
It's got soul. I love it. It's obviously different from a lot of when you're kind of on the internet and you're kind of streaming and dealing with like, not dealing, but when you have producers that are sending you stuff, it runs the gamut. But very rarely do we have people that kind of have that live instrumentation. It's a lot of beats. It's a lot of beat making, and I'm so happy that, not just because there's the Ian connection, but I'm so happy that your song kind of sits there as a counterbalance to the other amazing yet more heavily electronic produced tracks that we have.
Yeah, man. It was funny because I was actually surprised, like on the stream, that like I thought, oh man, like my track, like people are not gonna like it as much because it's like indie rock, indie pop, like kind of like a cool like chill vibe. But people were just like, this song fucking slaps, like fuck yeah. And I was just like, all right, cool. People, they don't care. They're like, if it's good, it's good.
Yeah, we've reached the point right now where like shit that slaps has overslapped us. We've been slapped. Like shit that like slaps in like the banger electronic sense, beat sense. We're in pain from the slapping, And at one point you have to de-slap. The de-slap now becomes a slap again, So it's like, so your guys' track is, it's a breath of fresh air.
That's like a very Seinfeld episode right there.
Life is
It's actually the D slap.
It's the D slap. No, but that's what it is, dude. And the other cool thing about like us creating this stuff in Web3 together is there are no rules. There's no like meta. Here's the top 10 hottest Web3 track.
Yeah.
No. It's just that's not like this. So before it becomes a homogenized nightmare, we want to step in and definitely create a pedestal for music like yours, and we're grateful to have you. So final question. Yes. If you could have confidently scored any film in history, which film would you have scored? Do you think you would have really done a crack job at with your sound?
Okay, so here's a twist on that.
Okay.
I would have not scored anything.
Okay.
But just been hanging out with John Williams when he did Star Wars, because John Williams is just such a fucking legend. I would just be like down to hang out with him.
Just pass him beers. Just yo, John. You
bro. Yo, John. Yeah, that shit's fucking tight.
That shit's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. Here, have
Empire
a beer.
theme. Yeah, slaps. Yeah, like. He's like, why are you talking like that? This is 1970, whatever. I'm like, John, just don't worry. I'm from the future, bro. Like, it's all good. Like, just like.
So basically, you actually did all of his composing.
It was me, Star Wars, and also Indiana Jones. Only like half of it, but you guys are welcome for that.
Thank you. That's amazing. Well, listen, man, it was such a pleasure to talk to you. I'm so excited, like I said, to have a song like yours on our collection, because it's gonna stand out. I mean, I believe that all the tunes that we have on there are gonna stand out, but yours obviously is this outlier, and I'm grateful, man. We're grateful to have you. So thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Thanks. Looking forward to it.
All right, dope. Thank you.
All right.
Bye,
Peace,
everyone.
Man.